Welcome back on the AM show. Time now for us to get into the papers. And yes, today we have newspapers, unlike yesterday where we were, I wouldn't say at sea, but we were left up that famous creek without a paddle. But before I go on, Sweetie Abochi is here with me. You're looking all fly today with, I see you're continuing a bit of the Ghana month into April.
Yeah.
There's a little flicker of,
like that.
A sliver of it. Anyway, time now for us to get into the papers. I'll be introducing our guest shortly, but this segment always brought to you by Endpoint Homeopathic Clinic. And as always, they're offering you, if you're a man, prostate screening for free. If you're a woman, fertility screening for free. Remember, your health is your wealth, and that's why you ought to make tracks to Endpoint Homeopathic Clinic at their branches dotted across the country. Here in Accra, they're at Spintex opposite the Shell signboard, Kumasi, Krono Mabwe here behind the Angel Educational Complex. There's Takrady Anaji State, Tema Community 22, Techiman Hanswa, and Esiaman Zima. Their call lines 0244 867 068 or 0274 234 321. Endpoint Homeopathic Clinic, the end to chronic disease. Would you like to join me for this? Endpoint Homeopathic Clinic.
The end to chronic disease.
I know you like that. You like the tagline. But we now are joined by our guest, Dr. Asah-Asante. He's a political scientist, also director of the Center for European Studies at the University of Ghana. Because of the weather and the network challenges, he's joining us via phone this morning. Doc, good morning. Imoache.
Yaura, Ben, good morning to your viewers and listeners, and then good morning to Lydia as well.
Right. And I just have to, sometimes I just get a little mischievous, and I have to let everyone know that you are my former lecturer. And part of why I'm here is because of the fine work that some of you did at the Political Science Department way back.
I am humbled.
How is your fish farm doing, Doc?
Oh, very well. Very well.
Okay.
Very well. I wish one day you had some time to come over.
We have to do it.
Have a good, feel of what is going on here. You will love it. It's really nice.
I see. Great stuff. It's a wet morning. It started raining sometime at dawn. I've been up since 3-something. I couldn't sleep at a point, so I woke up and did a few things at home. But has it rained where you are? And what's your neighborhood like?
It has rained, but I haven't stepped out to find out what has gone on. But interestingly, in my area, when it rains, you don't have difficulties because we are on a little hill. So the real action is when you go down the hill and see whether something has happened. But I have not heard anything of the sort. So I think so far we are cool.
Did your light stay on? Because for me and for Sweetie, intermittently, the light went off. It did a bit of a disco dance, but not for too long. Many people say the power went out. My colleague on the other end, Prime Morning, also said that, I don't want to mention names, said that her light went out at a point and did not return. Did you experience anything?
No, I did not. My light is still on.
Okay. We thank God for that. Anyway, so we get into the papers now, and I'd like Sweetie Abochi to start from your end. Oh, there's something that skipped my mind. Well, Doc, we always do this, right? I'm going to give you your 2 minutes. Yeah. You would have sacrificed me. I'm going to give you your 2 minutes to talk about anything that's on your heart, on your chest, that you'd like to speak about before Sweetie ushers us into the papers.
Yes. Ben, thank you for the opportunity. I am surprised that up to date, people are demanding timetable for load shedding. And an important matter of this nature is being played with. And to the extent that the minister gave a very reckless answer that people should bring out their own timetable. That's unfair. That is insulting. All right. Even if there is nothing of this sort that need to be demanded, the answer should not be that. A minister should know that he is serving the office of the public, not his own office. So he must gauge his language. It must be decorous and measured. This one, we demand an apology from him. All right. Is it the reality?
You're demanding an apology from the minister for saying...
Yes, to the Ghanaian public.
He literally suggested that those who are wishing this are wishing evil. Those who are asking for a schedule or timetable.
How can somebody wish evil?
Then they should
If the situation is not what people are anticipating or thinking about, why can't you take your time and explain? Oh, it's not this and not that. But meanwhile, this is the reality. Yesterday, I listened to some staff from the one of, I think, the hospitals or Ghana Medical Association or something like that. And they were on your network talking about the fact that they want to add their voices to the call for this type of timetable so that they can plan. They don't want a situation when you are going through surgery and then light is cut on the way and all that. They want to be able to, in other words, they want to plan for how they can manage the hospital. Is it too difficult to ask? Is it too difficult to also answer? I mean, that is not it. The way he answered it, I think, is one irresponsible way that he did that. And it affects everybody. And the language was so hurting in the sense that he is a medical doctor, so he should know better. And these things are not on at all. They are not on at all. The reality is that places are experiencing doomsday and all that. So if that is the reality, look, provide a timetable. It doesn't mean governance must be an honest thing. You need to be honest about what is happening so that you don't get more questions. The more you delay, the more you want to hide certain things, people bring in more issues to bear on the matter, and it creates all manner of problems. I respect you, somebody I respect so much, but for this one, I believe that, look, he has really, really not done us what good at all. We need an apology from him. And then going forward, he must gauge his language. His language must be civil, decorous, and then he must be tempered about these things. All right? And then explain. Governance, you proceed with integrity, with honesty. That is all there is toward governance, because it's a dialogue. When you give, people take. When people give, you take. So it's not a monologue that people will not will sit down and not ask questions about what is happening. They will ask and tell you all manner of the things. But you should have a big stomach to stomach these things and come out with something that will, deal with their problem one way or the other. What he has given out so far, so very good. Sorry, it's not the best. I think that he must come again. He must come again.
Thank you for those succinct thoughts, Doc.
Well, let's get into the newspapers now, starting with the Daily Guide newspaper. On the front page, it says, mad rush for Ejisu seat. That is the vacant seat with the passing of former Deputy Minister of Finance and MP for Ejisu constituency, John Kuma. The seat became vacant following the demise of John Kuma, and there are about 12 people are eyeing the seat so far. I'm going to do some quick headlines before we get into the actual stories. There's a story here about the passport fees going up. Baumia comments IGP. Probe marriage of girl. AG directs the IGP to probe. We did that story this morning during the news. And then there seemed to be a gold reserve that has been established in Germany by the German ambassador, Madame Blay. I'm looking for that story now. But let's start. Yes, there's a gold exhibition opens in Germany. We'll do that story too. But let's start from this passport fees going up. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Regional Integration has announced a significant increase in passport application fees. Yesterday we did that story. The update to it would be that although Parliament, Samuel Okudzeto Ablakwa is saying that they don't have the figures, the justification for the increment of these prices. Shelley Ayoko Boche was saying that the fees actually came from Parliament, and that if Parliament decides that they should reduce it or reassess, have a second look at the fees, then they will do that. But so far, there's been a general outcry about this hike in prices, that it's way too expensive for the average Ghanaian, but they're also saying that it is realistic. Doc, what do you think about this?
I have also heard the fees It has gone up. Those from the ministry are saying that, oh, the price is okay and all that. Is it the case that they took this decision without involving stakeholders? Normally, when you take stakeholders out of these things and you come out with a figure of this nature, it creates that type of problem. So always the advice is that involve some very key stakeholders in that type of decision. Get their input, and that by the time you come out with something that represents the interests of everybody. I don't know what has gone into it, but since everybody is talking about it and then the fees have gone up, it is important for them to take a second look at the fees and make sure that they address this problem. There's no point putting it at the price, the fee so high that people cannot access it. This document is not a document that you want to, give out there in order to gain any profit from it and all that. It's a service that you are rendering to the society. And for the state is not in to do any business. And I'm not sure that's the thinking of those in the ministry. But except that the fees is extraordinarily high, they should do something about it.
Well, yesterday she mentioned that we are paying the least. If you look at the line, African countries and the cost of passports, in the cost to secure a passport, Shele Yokubuchi was saying that this is actually realistic. But I'm struggling to ascertain what the facts are, because yesterday Samuel Okudzeto-Ablakwa was saying that they do not have the figures. And then Shelley saying that the figures came from Parliament.
I don't know whether it's the old figures she was referring to, because I think yesterday in the story I read, I made mention of the fact that even compared to the likes of Burkina Faso, I think Senegal, Cote d'Ivoire, among other countries, the claim was that. And I say the claim because it's been a bit murky. Even Okudzeto-Ablakwa, the North Town lawmaker, says he doesn't have the facts and figures. But the comparative has been that they are paying a lot more than we are for the same services. I don't know whether she's referring to the erstwhile figure or the newly proposed figures. But I am also saying that even as you do all of this, you must look at the context. What is the economic context of Ghana vis-a-vis our neighboring countries? What is inflation there? What is the exchange rate there? Comparatively, I mean, from time to time, I do stuff in Togo. It's way cheaper to live there, to get food, to get fuel, to get other things. I don't know whether they are still subsidizing prices on their fuel, Togo, I mean. But they have certain mechanisms in place, the free port system and all of that, that reduces the cost of basics, the most common things. You get it? So even as you do this, you must look at the comparative. What is the cost of living there? What is purchasing power parity versus the situation here? So you don't just look at it out of context and say this. But I also said yesterday that is why we need a breakdown from, I'm not judging the Foreign Affairs Ministry or the Minister, Shelley Ayoko-Botry, but that is why we also need a breakdown so that people can understand, oh, maybe we don't know, we don't understand. So maybe she can give us a breakdown. Oh, this is actually why the booklets cost this. This is actually why this service will now cost this. I think it's so simple.
Yeah, a justification, an actual, budget line items on why we are paying as much. But let's move on. Gold exhibition opens in Germany. Ghana's ambassador to Germany. The story is on page 10 of the Daily Guide newspaper. Ghana's ambassador to Germany, Gina Amablay, last March joined officials of the city of Ifofen in Germany to open an exquisite exhibition of gold, dubbed the Gold of the Akan, costly golden jewelry from West Africa. And it's been opened at the North Museum. Its director, Dr. Marcus Magenthala, expressed delight at the opportunity to host such a culturally significant event and emphasized that the North Museum's dedication to showcasing diverse and insightful exhibitions cannot be overemphasized. So the ambassador has opened a gold exhibition in Germany, and it's dubbed the Akan, Gold of the Akan, costly golden jewelry from West Africa. And they are applauding this. Basically, that's what the story says.
This reminds me of Manu Herbstein's book, The Boy Who Spat in Sagrenti's Eye. And the whole bit about, I've had an issue. Maybe today I should just talk about it before we bring in Doc. the looted relics, Asante relics from about 150 years ago. You know, February marked 150 years. And the whole concept of loaning it back to us.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is me. No one should get offended. I don't think I would have subscribed to that. This is mine. How do you loan it back to me? Loan, and then later you'll take it away. Of course, there are also the rules of engagement. In war, back then, of course, pillaging and all of that, and technically what a victor could do to a loser. But in the context of slavery, and in the context of everything we know, there are other countries in Africa, I think the Benin bronzes, among others, some of them have been returned. So I don't know what engagements but the whole concept of loaning, it strikes me as incredibly odd. I don't know, Doc, what's your take on this?
Yes, I think I follow that conversation. I don't also understand myself about the loaning something that you have taken away from me back to me. It's a very complex thing. I need further and better particulars in order to be able to appreciate the issues. But let's look at the gold exhibition and all that. I am intrigued about the title of the thing, from Dakan Gold. Why Dakan Gold? Why Dakan Gold?
It's almost as though they were poking fun at us, right?
I thought that was very interesting.
Yeah, because, you know, you can get gold in any part of this country, not necessarily from Dakan land. So why Dakan Gold, anyway? I want to find out, Ben, who is undertaking that exhibition? Is it a German ambassador or our ambassador in Ghana?
Our ambassador.
In Germany.
Ambassador Gina Blay. So it's our ambassador who was invited to the exhibition, and she...
But is he the exhibitor?
No.
So I think he's asking for the exhibitor.
She's supplying gold to the exhibition.
Okay.
So they're keeping it there. And it's the gold from a can, Cotley Golden Jewelry. If you go to the museum now, the North Museum now, the gold is there from the German ambassador.
Okay. Yeah. What is important for me in this thing is that, look, we must begin to look at how we can make the best out of the mineral resource we get in this country, right? Let's add value to them. It is not enough to just sell the raw minerals. No, but we need to add value, the value addition, so that one day we will not just be invited to an exhibition, but we will also exhibit what we have added onto our gold and invite people to come and see. For me, that is the day that I'm looking forward to. I am not so much interested in, going to look at gold exhibition and all that. But what I can do in my country,
right,
using gold, what value addition that I've done. If we are able to do that, then we can invite others to come and have a feel of what we have here. For me, that is the day that I'm looking forward to, and that's the day that will gladden my heart. Before that time, I'm afraid, yes, I will just hear stories of this nature, but it will not touch me.
Right. Let me do some quick headlines before I move on to the Ghanaian Times newspaper. 66 migrants arrested over cyber crimes. Stop impounding vehicles for minor offences. DTIA ready to impact next generation. And NPP diaspora urged to support Bawumia. Those are just some headlines in the Daily Guide newspaper. Now to the Ghanaian Times. The government absolves fees for all. GES urges parents, guardians not to pay. And on the front page, it says Parliament approved 6.8 billion Ghana cedis for National Health Insurance Scheme to cover dialysis, promote health check, mental health, etc. CRI leads campaign to dissolve marriage between 12-year-old girl and 63-year-old man. I think I'm going to do that story now on page 8 of the Ghanaian Times newspaper. So The Chief Executive Director of Child's Rights International, Mr. Bright Appiah, has called for a total abandonment of traditions and customs that endangers the lives of children. He said no matter how effective and mandatory tradition and customary rights are, its practice should not in any way disadvantage children nor cast a snare on their well-being. Mr. Appiah's comments follows the trending story of supposed customary marriage between Bobu Lomo Nuno Bokete Lawechu and a young girl named Na Okromo. Now, they've come out to say that the girl is not betrothed to the man, not the priest, but the Bobi deity itself. So it's not really a marriage that's...
When in the video, the women were telling her how to please her man and all of that, were they speaking about the God, the spirit, or they were speaking about the physical man?
That the man likes to romanticize his women. So is it the deity that's going to romanticize the girl? Doc, have you been following the story about...
Yes, I've been following.
Yeah, now they're saying she's not even 12 years old, that she's 16 years old. Yes,
it's taking a lot of twists, and it's interesting. In one breath, they can furnish us with information that he's 12 years. Another breath, they said he's 16. This dawn, I watched a video where Kofi TV was interviewing, I think, the priest or so, and he was giving a different account. How the girl was born, they came to the girl's parents, came to the deity for support, and he was giving birth, and the rest of them, and all that. And this is not marriage. He's just married to the deity and the rest of it. It is my hope and prayer that all the stakeholders who have taken interest in the matter will take time, go through it, and then come out with the truth so that we can comment properly. If you look at what has happened, it's a whole complex matter. While you want to see custom being displayed here, but you want to be very careful that they don't infringe upon the rights of the child. Let us remember that if you read the Children's Act, the spirit behind it is that whatever we do, the children's interest must be of paramount interest for everybody. So with that in mind, you want to gauge all your activities and make sure that when it comes to the issue of children, the child's interest is paramount. And then you want to also make sure that whatever you do it in the best interest of the child. Is that what we are seeing and all that? And I'm sure the stakeholders are taking all these things into consideration and probing further. They will come out with something meaningful for all of us. I rest in the hope that it will be done in no time so that we can settle this issue once and for all.
Right.
Yesterday, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
I listened to the Minister for Chieftaincy and Religious Affairs, and Asah-Asante. He said, I listened to that conversation around midday, the news, and he, after being, prompted, he said that looking at the video, he felt it was marriage. I'm not putting words into his mouth. Marriage. Between the betrothal and marriage, he says the wording, it was marriage, and that they were now going to determine whether there was contact between the two. And you understand when I say contact. So I guess we look forward to seeing more.
The girl has actually been examined.
Pardon me?
The girl has been examined.
As of yesterday, this was what the minister was saying.
Medical examination. And the results here are not public yet, but...
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So we still don't know the status. Had she been touched? Had she not been touched? That's another matter. But just quickly going back to the Dumsor bit, as we posted today, I see our social media team posted us, and 2 people just responded, "We're awake, but our power is sleeping, so we can't watch you." Hashtag Dumsor. That's Asford Mensa. And then Atakra Amaniampon Richard says, "We just had light, so basically his just came on." Just a quick thought on that, because there's this story from just yesterday where the ECG is telling us that the power outages are now over, but we see that the situation persists. And the executive director of the Institute for Energy Security, Nana Mwesi, the 7th, has questioned the true rationale behind the ECG's decision to announce that the national power grid is stable. Okay, there are questions about the possibility of stable national power grid, and the ECG continuing to claim that disruptions are only due to a localized fault.
And yesterday, Mr. Thatcher was telling Evans that we are no longer exporting energy because they're thinking about reserving what little power we have so that it can suffice for the people, the good people of this country. So maybe they're actually working to resolve the issues.
We'll see.
We just want light, and if we cannot provide light 24/7, power 24/7, give us a timetable. It's not too much to ask.
Let me quickly blaze through the papers I have. Daily Graphic, alleged 12-year-old marriage at
Ben,
Nungua.
before you do that, just permit me to
go ahead.
a little bit. I am just what has happened to that refrain at the time that the previous government left on excess energy. What has happened to it? What is that excess energy that you wasted the state resources in, quote unquote? You wasted the state resources. If we have anything excess, this is the time to use it. What has happened to that compensation? Where is that?
Doc, we don't have excess capacity now. We've not had it for the last 2 years.
Okay. I think we follow the conversation.
All right. Yeah, the excess capacities are NRBC. They say the first fool is not a fool, but the second one. Alleged 12-year-old marriage at Nungua, AG orders investigation. The Office of the AG and Ministry of Justice has directed the Criminal Investigation Department of the Ghana Police Service to conduct an investigation into the alleged marriage of a 12-year-old, whether it's 12 or 16, as we're hearing now, to that Wulomo of Nungua. And the investigation is to enable the AG's office to take further action on the matter, which took place last Saturday. Then children's cases top complaints, Shraj 2023 brief. I have to take a quick look at that story. It's on page 13 of the Daily Graphic newspaper, especially because we are talking about this 12-year-old. Now, children's rights cases topped the list of complaints received by the Commission on Human Rights and Administrative Justice last year. Of the 10,525 complaints received in that year across human rights, administrative justice, and anti-corruption, the three mandates of the Commission, namely children's rights complaints, which fall under the human rights mandate, topped the list of complaints with 3,509 cases. The children's rights complaints received were mainly on failure to pay maintenance, provision of necessities of life for the child in respect of food, education, health, clothing, and shelter, right to paternity, custody and human treatment, right to be named, and early and forced marriages. Early and forced marriages. Early and forced marriages. Anyway, so those are, I feel in Ghana's laws, we have the finest laws in almost everything, but I feel we do very little to protect children from abuse. What's it called? You know, is it beatings at home and all of that? And when I see these street urchins, the ones who will always come asking for something, we have failed them. Whether they are from whichever country and have come here, we have failed them. It's either we give them some education or we take them back to their country. At a point, I know something like that was done, but we fail children in this country, and I'm not just talking about now. WASI registration fees remain free. That's according to the GES Director General. So if you're being asked to pay, beware. Senegal swears in former opposition figure as the new president, and of course, the inauguration of Bassirou Diomaye Faye as its new president yesterday, completing the previously little-known opposition figure's dramatic ascent from prison to the palace in recent weeks. I guess someone could write a book on that, right? From prison to palace within the space of a week. Ethiopia to repatriate 70,000 nationals from Saudi Arabia, and DR Congo names first female prime minister. It appears other countries are really catching up on the female leadership. Ghana, I don't know, when it comes to the executive, it's a different line. The new finder, and Doc, because of time, I'm just putting all my stories together so you can react to one or two. Sure. Passport fee hike sparks outcry. Zipline delivers 18.6 million items, vaccines, saving thousands of lives in emergency situations. But I know a lot of questions have been raised about how it is being funded and whether it is even sustainable. I wonder why we never have that conversation as well. I have friends at Zipline. I love what they do. I've been to their Omenako site before, invited there. But at the same time, what's the other side of the question? Economy Times, Bank of Ghana hopeful of CD rebound. Sometimes hopeful, no, it's something is always in the pipeline. How about actualizing? We are always hopeful something good will happen, and the good never seems to come. And finally, tax amnesty promise. Finance experts, school businesses not to be too expectant. The vice president has been talking about tax amnesty, but finance experts say, Masa, that's it. You know the pap. Anyway, quick thoughts, Doc, and
yes.
We can get
I think I will touch on the Sraj report, touching on issues about children. I'm worried because this should not happen to a country where we're one of the first to come out with children's acts, and so beautiful, crafted, and the rest of them. Why are we here when maintenance of children is a problem? Why are we here and so look on where children's rights are abused? Issue of what early marriage is still part of the report. Early marriage and then forced marriage is part. And what is also interesting to note is the issue of what naming. Under the Children's Act, you know that every child should have a name. Yeah. Why is it that naming is a problem here? All that it tells us that there are lots that we need to do in order to improve the lot of children. You see children selling around, and it's a function of what is happening in their homes that they need towards support families to be able to do this. Sometimes they sell and not even go to school. Issue of begging. You rightly said that when you talk about issue of begging in the streets, and sometimes even if the people are not from this country, what we do, because I'm sure it is a crime to beg. So if you have that type of activity in your street, what do you do about that? I have observed from afar that we are quick to passing laws, but as to how we maintain them is always a problem. We are quick to adding onto the existing laws, right, but you maintain them. You go to the U.S., the story is different. They will tell you that your legislature is unique in the sense that it is one of the legislatures in the world that when they pass a law, they go out there and see whether the law is working. Is that what we are experiencing in Ghana? I think that going forward, our parliament must also follow the example of the U.S. and then venture to come out and see whether the laws that they pass are working before these aberrations occur and they are captured in human rights reports and the rest of them. We can save our country before these things are published.
Doc, thank you so much. And I just found out on the international front, Deutsche Welle also asking, Ghana, what's causing the Dumso blackouts? Maybe ECG can tell us about that. But Dr. Asah-Asante, our guest, he is a political scientist and also director of the Center for European Studies. And of course, I've been here with Sweetie Abochi. Right before we get into sports, Endpoint Homeopathic Clinic helping us bring you this segment. They're offering you prostate screening for free if you're a man, fertility screening for free if you're a woman. Reach out to them at their branches across Pentex opposite the Shell signboard, Kumasi, Kronoma, here behind the Angel Educational Complex, Takrade Anaji State Tema Committee 22, Tichiman Hanso and Siaman Samad. Their call lines 0244 867 068 or 0274 234 321. Endpoint Homeopathic Clinic, the end to chronic disease. There's more in sports right up next. Do stay.